In this video, I'm going to show you how I build a modern Danish-inspired coffee table using imported oak plywood and black walnut. So I've got this beautiful piece of high quality oak plywood from my hardwood dealer. I've ripped it in half already, so this is half a sheet that I bought from them. This is going to be the coffee table top right here. So these are 2 by 4 feet roughly. So I'm going to cut 6 inches off of it. So I'm going to make a box out of these 2 pieces of plywood, and that will be the carcass for the coffee table. Make sure I've got a nice clean joint right here. There's a little bit of overhang, that's okay. I can trim that with a flush bit later, but what I really want is a nice tidy joint on the edges. It's super strong. I've built lots of cabinet carcasses and boxes and drawers using this method. Okay, so now that this is set up on the bottom, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to do the top side of this. Move this to these little benches here, these little shop benches that I have. This is why you need a flat bench top. If you don't have a flat bench top, it's really hard to do this. Now to clarify what it is I'm doing here. I've got one piece here and one piece here, which are the feet, but to build them up and make them thicker and to facilitate joining this together, I've got these top pieces that are going to be glued, and in this case I can say laminated to each other. So now with this set, this end is set at 3/8, this end is set at 1/4 inch. I can do all my marking pretty quickly. I like this marking gauge because I can roll it like a pizza cutter sometimes. Alright, so that's cut now. We've got two perfect 1/4 inch rabbets. So the feet will sit in there like that. So that's working out pretty well. So now we go on to the next step, and that's cutting our tenons for this piece. And I need one more of these. This turned out perfect. Cutting it with my table saw jig worked really well, so I got a really nice joint. Not too tight, but snug enough, trying to stay in place, so I can just actually by hand push it together. I don't need to hammer on it. So the joints worked out really well. I'm really happy with the mortise and tenons. In the middle, I'm going to do 3 pocket holes. So the next step here is to do the glue up for the feet on the outside. So I've got my marks already set. I'll set my timer for 3 hours. And then we'll come back to it. Where the cross piece is going to get seated right here. So it's actually a pretty fast join to put together. It doesn't really take that much force to get in. There we are, the glue up is underway, it's happening. I'll sand and finish this separately and do a coat of poly on it before. So now for the moment of truth, we're going to see what the coffee table looks like on top of the stretcher and the legs. I wasn't 100% certain how the stretcher and the feet were going to look when I was done, and I'm quite happy with the end result. This is really looking fantastic. Right now, the carcass is just sitting on top of the stretcher and the feet. The next thing to do is to do all the finish sanding and run through all the grits. So I'm starting my sanding by breaking all the sharp edges. So now I've got my bench set up to do the polyurethane, the first coat. I thought I'd point out that the kind of polyurethane that I'm using this time around is the PolyShades Classic Oak Satin. And then I've got the stretcher and feet over here, and I'll do that next. This PolyShades stuff had a lot of pigment that just kind of settled at the bottom of the can. So first coat's going on. So that's the first coat of poly done. It's looking good. Okay, so we're done with the stretcher and the feet are all finished. The coffee tabletop is all finished. So the final step in this process is to mount the stretcher and the legs onto the bottom. Now we simply just measure up so that it's nice and square and even on both sides with the edges. I'm using 1 1/4 inch soft plywood pocket screws. Should make it pretty easy to take it on and off. This was a real fun project to put together. It looks great. Well, that concludes building a coffee table using imported oak plywood and black walnut. The full video for this project is available on my Patreon page in the link in the description below. As always, I welcome your questions and comments in the comment section below. If you want to buy me a beer, head on over to my Patreon page over here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. There are a couple more videos on this side that you can watch. Until next time, thanks for watching and have a great day.